Yeah. Like, it was like when two of the main characters had to infiltrate this bar to find out more information about Mel's corrupt supervisor, and like
Oh
that
yeah.
entire few chapters was inspired essentially by the Streets of Rage 3 soundtrack. Yes, Streets of
Oh my
Rage
god.
3, not 2, 3.
Yeah.
um,
I know. Like I said, a lot of Cynthia, Sign of the Serpent, was Streets of Rage 2.
uh-huh.
I can even give you select track names and scenes.
um, Actually, what I would do during that year was like I would think of the scene while listening to the music, and then like I'd pull aside, take out a piece of paper, write down what happens in the scene, and then the sound like the song that would play when I
You
thought of it.
physically write it down.
Yeah,
I have never done that. I just keep it all in my head.
it's kind of freaky. Um,
It is.
I know one.
I mean, I could totally think of more examples if you want to hear some of mine.
Sure, sure.
Okay. There's a bit where in the climax of the first book of Part 4, where Anna is fighting Daniel Dean in a clone body on top of a airship sort of thing,
Uh-huh.
and it's sort of clashing like psychic swords with each other.
Yeah.
Stage 4 of Stage 4? Yeah, Stage 4 of Contra 4. That's the track there.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool.
I haven't actually played Contra 4 before though.
Oh, it's good.
I know it looks good. I've seen your LPO hard difficulty no death run of it.
You should see my something awful run of it.
Of Contra 4?
Hard difficulty, no death run of the entire game.
Wow.
Of course, that was like segmented into parts. So like,
yeah.
it doesn't really count. Like, it's like not. Oh my god, you did it in one sitting, but I did beat each level without dying. So.
Well, I mean, despite how overrated the difficulty of Contra games tend to be, one lifing them is legitimately.
No, Contra 4 is legit difficult.
I mean, you remember when I tried no deathing Super C with a certain weapon, like back after the Nostalgia Olympics?
Oh my god.
I still haven't done that. I would always get up to stage 5. I always would get up to like the stage where the overhead stage with the mouths that would like randomly open up.
That's stage 6. Oh god.
Yeah, that would always screw me up. And after
I've wanted to do a Super Ghouls and Ghosts scythe only run. This time, just because basically Super Ghouls and Ghosts is like, oh, 3 weapons are only worth anything in this game. I just want to try to beat it with one of the lesser ones.
But then how are you going to get past Neberoth though? That bastard.
Then you absolutely got to use the bracelet. Yeah.
No, I mean like he's fucking hard with like anything that's not the arrows.
Well, you got to beat him with the bracelet anyway.
I know, which is, and I mean when I did legitimately beat it earlier this year, I had like 10 continues when I got to that final stage, and I lost all but 2 of them to that bastard.
Well, see, the thing is with that is that there are just enough money bags in stage 7 to earn you a continue, so
yeah,
you never run out unless you like lose all your lives before you get all the money bags.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've made it that far, you're probably pretty good at the game enough to get all the money bags at least.
I was actually really thankful that like the true final boss of that game is actually a complete freaking pushover because like I was.
You know what made me the saltiest is in the LP when I did the code and I like, oh, you can just kill him with the lance. So.
Oh my.
Princess, you lied to me. Oh god, this isn't book talk at all.
No, but.
We're bullshitting now. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I gotta go do a thing for a couple of minutes, so
all right.
just hold on a sec.
I'll try
you
to...
Can talk, you can talk over the visual novel that you're actually playing, I think, instead of this.
I don't think anyone's paying attention to this thing.
Alright, well, see you in a second.
Alright. Okay, so... How are you guys doing in the chat? Have I bored you all to sleep yet? Seems like some freakish serial killings have been going on since we last got back with this thing. Maybe streaming a visual novel wasn't such a good idea after all. But I mean, I don't know, like, I can't really play games and talk coherently about things that aren't about the game very coherently. So I figured something as low effort as a visual novel would be appropriate for a stream like this. I mean, I actually thought about streaming other visual novels, like maybe but I'd have to edit like the CGs in there, which I'm actually learning how to do. Like going into the programming and like extracting the images to kind of get rid of all the naughty bits. It's a far more interactive novel than this one. So, I don't know. Just so I'm somewhat here. What else? Oh, really? What VN? Jetstorm. Sorry, I'm not really good at commentary at all, it seems. Oh? A guest, huh? Well, you did say something about playing Canon, didn't you, Jetstorm? I am familiar with Canon a bit. My feelings on Canon are actually kind of mixed. I mean, it's got them feels, as you internet kids like to call it, but like the way it goes about it is kind of weird. Oh, okay. Not that one. Adventure game for the Sega CD. Not Snatcher, is it? Well, you said Christmas, so... Huh.
Books!
Oh, hey! You're back.
Yep.
So I can stop boring these people with my commentary.
No, we can bore them together with our book commentary.
Yes! So apparently Jetstorm's thinking about streaming Snatcher.
Ooh,
I think.
Snatcher.
Yeah, that's a cool visual novel.
Game.
Actually, this is like completely out of the blue, but I seem to remember you saying that you've been wanting to play Famicom Detective Club Part 2 for the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The only reason why I remember this is because I played that like right before clearing Snatcher for the Sega CD, and I was just going to say it's a really good game. You should totally do it.
Neat. Maybe I will someday.
Maybe.
Like I've got in a couple of weeks I'm gonna have my Fresmas.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I gotta make a video for that like next week. Or is it next? Yeah, either late this week or early next week. I gotta do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be fun. Bunch of people. Hopefully they'll be nice. Usually they don't make me suffer.
Well, you don't have to play everything they suggest, do you?
Well, I usually go with it unless it's something that I can't really run.
Uh-huh.
Or something that well, I do give them the warning when I make the video, like don't make Schadenfreude, because I'm not the angry video game nerd. It's not funny when I get mad. It's just bullshit and unentertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bullshit and unentertaining anyway, but when I'm mad, even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, we're here to have a good time. None of this, hey, you should play Takeshi's Challenge.
Well, to be fair, the ways in which Takeshi's Challenge is bad is kind of amusing. Because it's just so incompetently designed.
Also, I beat Takeshi's Challenge live on stream, so...
Well, yeah. Like, that in itself is pretty amusing.
Oh, God.
You know that, the apparently worst Famicom game, according to Nintendo, was recently fan-translated.
Oh, yeah, the
Ganzo Sayuki, Journey to the West
Journey
or whatever.
To the West. Super Monkey Daiboken.
Oh my god. That game looks so terrible.
Oh, it looks absolutely horrendous.
But I kind of love, like, Japanese Famicom Kusoge, because it's like its own brand of just awful.
Takeshi's Challenge is like the only one of those I've technically beaten. Well, technically, I beat Atlantis No Nazo last year. I got like the easiest to get ending where you secretly warp to the end credits or something from 6 levels in.
6 of 100 levels.
Yeah. Well, you do some warping to get to the place where the warp is. The ending is. Yeah. But Takeshi's Challenge is its own little beast. Like, on the one hand, it's this avant-garde sort of dark reflection of what Famicom games were like in 1986. And then there's another more valid reading where it's just shit.
Well, I don't know, because, like, from what I heard of Beat Takeshi's view on games at that point, like, I could see it as, like, a sort of really harsh parody of, like, what video games were.
Oh, that's absolutely.
Well, I mean, but the fact that it's just so kind of buggy and incompetently programmed could also be, like, the testament of how amateurish the programmers or whoever programmed it or no, I'm not paying attention to where I'm going either.
Books.
Yeah, books.
You know what's funny is that thanks to the AVGN fiasco, where I won an award for the review.
Yeah.
I can pretty much say that I'm an award-winning author.
Of a sort.
Then again, you wouldn't be able to do that, normally, because, like, it's not award-winning for being an author, but I'm an author who won an award. I'm pretty sure you can't do that. Interesting. God, that second game's gonna drop in the winter. Oh God. It might come out this month. I'm not sure. There's no release date yet.
Oh gosh. Well, I could see why they'd release it like during the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. What else?
Yeah. Well, I said I wasn't going to buy it, but I also have a feeling that someone's going to buy it for me. So if they do that, I'll play it and write about it.
You don't really have to, though. I mean,
I don't really have to, but at the same time, I kind of want to. I mean, I know what I'm getting into this time, more so than before. But I mean, part of me wants to see if the thing improves and writes something a little less personally condemning. But part of me also just wants to piss off nerds again.
Well, there's always that little joy in the world.
They got so mad at me.
And they get mad at such like the dumbest things.
There are people
for the dumbest reasons.
There are people on that website getting mad right now that Undertale is beating Super Mario World in the poll.
I've seen that. That's really something.
Like, did you see what I retweeted?
Did you see what I retweeted? It's the same. Well, it's like in the same vein. It's another thread. There are multiple threads of this of people getting mad.
Okay, I'm jumping on your timeline to look at this right now. Oh my God!
Oh my, yeah. Yeah, it's.
I don't believe this.
It is a growing thing over there, apparently. There are multiple threads of people bitching about how Undertale is this inclusive thing that people...
Like mine, I gotta get to mine, because mine is just the most ridiculous insult. Like, it's something unironically used as an insult. It's ridiculous. I'm just gonna pop on my tab quick to find this shit. It says, Undertale is for a bunch of liberal, puppy-loving pansies. Have we gotten to the point where puppy-loving is being used as an insult?
Oh my God. There's also this one thread that's just like, why do SJWs like to ruin everything? And that's literally just it. And the guy posting it just says, really, why?
I hate that term so goddamn much.
It's such a fun term to make fun of, though.
I don't even like making fun of it. It's not a slur, but the way it's used is kind of slur-ish. If that makes sense. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
It's using it as condescension. Ooh, you care about things. You have empathy.
You know what term really gets on my nerves though?
What's that?
Special snowflake.
Oh,
how dare you consider yourself in any way noticeable or what the what in the hell, man?
How cute you think your opinions matter.
You'd have to be one hell of a nihilist to just. I don't know.
It's mostly derision at Tumblr with those two things. We're getting way off track here. We're getting political.
Well, let's try to tie it back here, because I do remember in one story, this is like an incredibly trivial thing, but I think it was during your crossover story, you had, I think, April talk about how how the Foundation soldiers she was fighting were talking about how they're all about ethics or something, and I recognize that as a little jab at...
did I really put
something like that, yeah.
That sounds like a me thing to do. In fact, I'm going to load up that book right now and see if I can find the line. Because I know that's something I would do.
It's just amazing how, the things we're into at the moments we're writing.
I mean, because it was April 25th. It was April of this year. So
yeah.
that totally would have been a thing. But yeah, I mean, little subtle digs like that nobody else will really see, because only you and Rainiac are really reading it.
Yeah.
Just those cute little digs.
I was actually about to like do something similar with my Nadia Bowensfield story. Like the snake worshipping cult was supposed to be like the front for their movement was supposed to be like for the ethics in like magic usage or something really bullshitty and stupid. But yeah, making fun of Gamergate's really funny.
Oh my god. Well, we're straight white men, so we can do it without repercussion.
Yeah.
Which is sad, really. I gotta find this line. I'm really curious.
I might be misremembering. I don't.
No, I don't think you are. That absolutely seems like something. Hang on, let me just control F ethics in this book. I know, like that is absolutely a mean thing to do.
Literally looking for ethics in your story.
Oh my god. What was it that finally drove you out? Was it the ethics of warfare? Actually, it was about you being a psychopathic bully.
That wasn't it.
No, that's a different line. It's between General Omega and Gamma. Which is another pretty amazing scene where April like smashes that lady in the back of the head. It was really great in my mind. And I'm getting pretty excited for like the second Terry Michelin book, actually. I can tell you right now, I'm already thinking the scenes like in my head with music. I did try to write briefly. Like, I don't think it was even for a NaNoWriMo. Just tried to write like the second Terry Michelin book just to get it out of my head a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't make it very far.
How far did you get?
Like the opening bit. Like the opening battle. Well, that's what I'm thinking of now in my head. Redoing it. And I actually, like, old Nintendo chiptunes have inspired me, because I'm thinking... Well, I could tell you this little spoiler right now. That the opening is like a big attack by this group, and Jetstone and Rainiac will mark it here. I've named in the original draft, which, mind you, I came up with in like 2004. No, wait, between 2004 and 2007 is when I was thinking of what the second Terry book became, right?
Yeah.
So well before this, but the original like bad people militia group was called the Despair Militia. Right. So now in this, I'm going to call them Ultimate Despair.
Oh, let me
another
guess.
Danganronpa joke. Yeah. But anyway, when they attack like a place, the music I'm thinking of is from the Nintendo, the original NES version of Batman Returns. And then Terry arriving and kicking the shit out of all of them, set to the boss music from Bucky O'Hare. Also on NES.
Lots of awesome NES chiptunes there.
I can seriously rattle off a shitload of chiptunes that have inspired me.
Oh, same
It's
here.
wild.
But I mean, that, like, admittedly, most of the music I listen to is just, like, video game chiptunes. But, yeah, I totally get that. Like,
I'm surprised that Kate Bush hasn't actually inspired any scenes yet, because I love Kate Bush too much. But she's not really, like, the set, she doesn't really sing songs that are for blowing shit up with psychic powers.
I've still yet to use that phrase, chorus of asses and something. I mean, which was indirectly
band?
Oh, the chorus of asses.
What?
Like,
oh god.
Like, that was indirectly inspired by one of the Kate Bush songs, where there's like a chorus of asses just in the background, and Kate Bush making
What the hell
donkey
Kate Bush
noises.
song is that?
Uh, I told you about this during in Twitter, like at the end, at the tail end of one of the songs, like it crescendos into Kate Bush and a bunch of other background singers making donkey noises.
Oh, asses.
Yeah.
Asses is in donkeys.
Yes, not like.
I was literally thinking, I was sitting here thinking, what the fuck Kate Bush song ends in sparks?
Not that ass, just like donkey asses.
See, now I know what you're talking about. Braying donkeys.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that phrase, a chorus of asses, just seems like a good phrase to describe
That is actually my favorite Kate Bush album. Come to think of it.
Wait, that's like from
it's like the first one I heard.
Mm-hmm.
So like you never forget your first Kate Bush album. This is shit. Okay.
That's
okay. Just talk to myself.
Where should I eat? Let's just drop a save right here. What else?
So, is there any more other book ideas that you're working on in your head right now, like on the sidelines?
Right now, okay, so I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but the two stories I wrote kind of take place in the same universe, with the second story, despite
I caught that.
All right. And you've also caught like Dawn's whole motivation for like doing what she's doing, right? Sort of.
Me.
Okay, so I'm not surprised you don't really know, because I only briefly mentioned it at the tail end of the first book. But what she's doing is she's looking to use the Holy Sword to help out her girlfriend from another time.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I have in mind is, like, in addition to these two books, like two other novels detailing, like, one detailing Dawn's backstory, and that's essentially going to be like a rewrite of my 2011 NaNoWriMo attempt at like a dystopian sort of story, but a lot more lighthearted. And then there's another story that concerns the two holy swords within this sort of canon, like the light sword and the dark sword. But
the Retsupre crab and the Rathagil.
Yes, the Retsupre crab and the Rathagil. But I'd have it to where the roles of those swords are reversed, to where like the black sword is being wielded by the main character, and the white sword is being wielded by the sort of rival antagonist. And this story is actually inspired by a Valis fan fiction I tried writing at one time.
Oh my! So I can tell you one thing. I'm on the same page with you there, because the interdimensional war between the Foundation and the people resisting it.
Mm-hmm.
The Foundation are all in white, and they have white spaceships. And the Resistance usually has black uniforms and has black spaceships. So it's like reversing. You know, black is bad, white is good. But white is like the authority, wants to take over everything, and the black is fighting back.
Yeah, right? I get that. Like,
just an inversion of color. That's all it really is.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's kind of like what I was trying to get at with the two holy swords in my in like the canon I'm writing right now. Like, what I'm trying to do is have it to where throughout the history of this, there are two swords that keep appearing at certain points in history, and one is like the Blade of Order, the Black Blade, which is used to bring to order like chaotic situations. Like during the epilogue I'm planning for in the novel I'm writing, and I'm sure all of this is like really compelling to the people in chat right now, but like all this inside stuff of stories they've never read before, but like one of the first users of the Black Blade, Arta, she's going to be in like the epilogue of the novel I'm writing at right now, and she uses that blade to establish civilization. And then you have the Retzibkrad, which is the light blade of revolution, and like during the history of this canon, you'll have it to where the black blade is used to establish order, and the white blade is used to tear down that order if it oversteps its bounds, and then it just keeps going back and forth, sort of, kind of like that. So, yeah,
it's neat.
It's not something I've been able to communicate very well because these are just NaNoWriMo rough drafts, but yeah.
Yeah. I just remembered another weird inspiration from the old days. You know the character I recently introduced, like she's all of a couple of days old to you and Rainiac. Laura, bounty hunter. Well, she was all the way back inspired by someone's OC in a Mega Man Sprite comic.
Really now?
I swear to God, just I saw like a lady with purple hair and in purple armor, like a purple Mega Man armor. Sort of deal. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And that visual design's what inspired her. And she's gone through a lot of names. Like I asked a friend of mine what she should be named after the 2004 thing, and they said Lolita, and I said to myself, no, that's that will make people think of other things. So I changed it to Lola, which is okay. But now I've got this alternate universe thing. I switched Lola around to Laura, which is both similar but also makes sense because alternate dimensions and whatnot. So in the other universe, she can be called Lola, but in this one, she can be called Laura. Makes sense. It gotta be.
Yeah.
The interdimensional thing is something to wrap my head around too. I haven't even been able to wrap my head around it half the time.
I'll tell you this right now, though. The canon I'm working on actually takes place around three separate timelines. So it's about to get a lot weirder too.
I figured it was just a straight prequel, but you're working stuff.
A lot of this I haven't actually put to paper yet, but what I'm essentially doing is tying together five stories I've tried writing before into like one coherent universe. So that's going to involve a lot of time traveling and time.
I just remembered the terrible like Brad West sequel story I wrote in 2000. When it was about 10 years ago now, between 2005 and 2006. It was basically like the first Brad West story I never wrote. It was like bad things happen in his town. He takes up a sword and kills people, and he forgets and everyone forgets except him at the end, and everything gets restored at the end. Second one, interdimensional stuff with Final Fantasy crystals. And then the third one, rather than being about dimensions, it's about time travel with his granddaughter. And that lady ended up being Danielle Dean's mother, the evil boss lady of the Foundation. Yeah, and there was a bunch of time travel, and it was terrible. It was really bad. I almost Tim Buckley'd myself. I almost had the villain's girlfriend suffer a miscarriage in the fight with her. I almost did that. I didn't do that, and thank God I didn't do that because I could not pull that off. I can't pull that off today, let alone when I was a youngin'. No, that was a terrible idea.
Oh my God!
I could have been the next Lost edit.
I've written like, especially during my during my later high school years and my early college years, I've written all sorts of dark, icky crap in my stories that I'm not too proud of now. But
Hmm.
I totally get that. um, uh, hmm.
Oh man,
Stories are weird.
they are.
Um, but
So how's the visual novel going?
I kind of stopped it for now.
Mm.
I know no one's really paying attention to it.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
fine. We're just shooting the shit.
I I might try streaming this like one day later, because I'm familiar with it enough to where I can uh, like provide
Breeze through it when you're
actual.
not talking about book writing.
Yeah, like the entire reason why I decided to pick this over like something a little more visually stimulating was because like I was actually planning on maybe playing through the Konami Game Boy Collection Volume One on the Super Game Boy, but I thought,
Wait, what does that have on it? I think it has God, Operations. I think it's Operation C, Castlevania Adventure, and two other things I don't know.
Castlevania Adventure, Operation C, um, uh, Nemesis One,
Oh, it has Nemesis One.
yeah,
Really neat.
and a racing game that I don't know was ever even released in America. Uh, it's all right, but it's a racing game.
I mean, well, the main chasers are those three big franchises.
Yeah, but
But
like
I mean, if you call Castlevania Adventure a chaser,
I don't think it's that bad, honestly, though.
it's,
Like,
it's I don't know how I feel about it. Like I can tolerate it now. That's for sure. I can beat it.
no, Jetstorm, this is not Lady Killer in a bind.
Oh my god.
uh,
What do you mean this isn't Hatoful Boyfriend?
uh, well, I mean, like, if I can get an audience, I'll probably stream this in earnest. But right
Yeah.
now, I'm just here to shoot the shit with you about novels and such.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what else did I want to say?
I can't think of much more right now, but if you think of something to spark, that would help.
Um, well, I do remember that
Oh,
from.
I got one. I
Oh,
got one.
okay.
Top three characters that you've created.
That's a tough one though,
Oh,
because like,
I can tell you my top three pretty easy.
oh,
Yeah.
what's your top three?
Well, it's funny because they keep changing as I invent more people.
Uh huh.
But in order of how I invented them, we have Elise Michelin, who daughter of Terry Michelin, somewhat eager to become a psychic warrior. Kinetic, I call them in the books. Kinetic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to use that. Somewhat eager to do it. She explores through other dimensions, learning how to use her power stronger. Saves her planet from a couple of scrapes. Then the Foundation shows up and takes everything over, and she gets banished for a while. Comes back and ends up massively restructuring the government of the galaxy and becoming a ruler before tragically getting killed. I really love Ellie Michelin because she's just so eager and honest, and she unintentionally does a lot of stuff that changes the world and causes a lot of bad stuff when she's gone. But I do really like her. She's earnest and honest. You read her. What do you think, Ellie? In the brief moments that you saw her in the Alex books.
Well, to be honest, there wasn't really a lot to glean from
Yeah.
what I've read because I haven't read like the stories where she's been like the main focus, but
Well, that's
I've
okay because I haven't written them yet.
really, huh?
Yeah.
Oh wait, your first finished nano novel was about
Yeah. It was after. Right
after,
after. The
yeah.
years.
Um, she seems like a nice enough character.
Yeah.
Like no, she's literally Alex's mentor for like his books,
Mm-hmm.
and like she's the one who takes like the first stand against the Foundation, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's right.
So, like she's like the first Michelin that I know of whose contribution to the safety of the universe is like well known. I mean, she later on she gets like a monument erected in her honor and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like she's a really big deal in your
Yeah.
universe.
Everyone, pretty much everyone after her looks up to her immensely
Yeah.
for their own various reasons. Because her son looks up to her because obvious stuff, wants to wants to fight on in her honor,
Uh-huh.
and her granddaughter is a big history buff, so of course she's aspiring to be just like her. And
Mm-hmm.
Alex, as you said, directly is trained by her in the past, so
Yeah.
obvious stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So my second character is the one I just mentioned, the granddaughter of Elise Michelin, fourth generation heroine Anna Michelin,
Uh-huh.
who I really like because she's probably like the second oldest of the Michelins. I think she's like 20, 21,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and Terry's more like a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
So she's got experience, but she's still a little naive and not really experienced in fighting. She's trained her powers, but she hasn't done that. And she's really, she's passionate and stands up for what she believes in, stands up for historical ideals.
Mm.
Like, she'll stand there with her sword out and, like, fight to protect everything she cares about and protect the arc of history.
Mm-hmm.
So she's, in a sense, filled with determination.
That's an Undertale reference, isn't it?
It's a joke. Yeah, well, it's not quite an Undertale specific joke, but yeah, it's what I'm going for.
I really need to play that game.
You do, you really do. But yeah, Anna, I like Anna a lot. She's nice.
Uh-huh.
And she's stylish, and I dig her. And she's still around because she's older in the Alex books. You got a glimpse of older Anna. What did you think of older Anna?
Well, she's pretty strong for a mom character.
Oh, I'm not gonna make her wimp out just because she's.
Well, of course, I mean she's she's done her own share of like kicking
adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, before you state your final like favorite character, you mind if I take a guess as to who that is?
Oh, I think I think I know who you're gonna guess, but go ahead.
Alice DeMargo. Not Alice.
It's April.
April, sorry.
But yes, that is the number one. April is. What are you saying?
I was gonna say like I'm not sure what it is about how you write her, but you seem to take a lot of relish in her scenes. Like she's just this sassy. Just spits fire wherever she goes. Just a really fun character.
That's basically half of the people I write. Like Leigh Michelin is a lot like that too.
I know, but that's what makes the fact that April stands out in spite of that. Like she's just so much more so. It's amazing.
And I like April because she's probably the most layered character I've ever actually made. Because she has this entire elaborate backstory about how she was orphaned with her brother.
Yeah.
And they both had kinetic power, and they basically, because they were orphaned, they turned to crime. And April did a lot of bad things. She was a crook, a thief, a criminal. But the one thing she didn't condone was murder. And when her brother killed a guy in cold blood, she turned everyone in and made a deal with the government to become an agent, sort of. But that really made her nobody's friend, because now her brother wants her dead if he ever gets out of jail.
Yeah.
And the government agents are all sort of judgmental of her because she used to be the sort of people they hunt down and arrest.
Yeah. Like.
And the only one to actually like not judge her for who she is Alex.
Yeah.
And well, and the way their friendship develops over the two books. Well, it's basically one book because she's kind of a minor character in the first Alex book. She doesn't have enough time to really develop. All she does is sass, as you said, which she still stands out for sassy, but she's still great. But she has this whole big backstory, and her brother gets out of jail, and she's gonna face him alone. But Alex comes to help her out because they're friends, and that's what friends do to each other, and they gain a respect for each other.
Yeah.
And then even in the crossover book, when she confronts the person who indirectly caused her to become an orphan, and gets to belt that person in the head. It's great. I really like April a lot, and she's still around. I don't know. It's tricky stuff. I haven't thought of the sixth generation because I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm not sure if I really keep wanting to go forward with the Michelin stuff as of now. But I really love April a lot. What do you think of her, other than the sassy bit?
Well, she's a fun character to read about, and
she's fun to write. She really is.
And seeing her interact with the other characters, seeing how they, how everyone else kind of sort of gradually learns to accept her, and her little her personality and stuff. Because I mean, even aside from her shady past, she's not the most. She doesn't wear her heart on her sleeve or anything. She's not the most easy person to make friends with, given her personality, and so it's
she sort of keeps herself guarded.
Yeah, for good reason.
Oh yeah.
But she's just a really interesting character to read about.
Her and Alex are a great friendship. It's not even a ship sort of thing where true love. I'm pretty deliberately against that almost. They're not lovers. They're just really good platonic friends.
Yeah.
And I really dig that. And eventually Alex starts to teach her his tricks. So it's nice like that. So what about you? What are some of your favorite people you've written?
Some of my favorites. Well, let's start with one you do know. And this is actually for reasons outside of what I've written about her so far. It's really more about what I haven't written about her. But Dawn.
Oh yeah, well, as written, Dawn does really remind me kind of April in a lot of ways.
That might have been April may have inspired Dawn in a few ways.
Oh my god! Are you kidding?
Not consciously, but
that flatters me so much. You don't even know. Don't take it back.
I'm not trying to, really, but just what am I trying to say? Because Dawn is also a character with a troubled past, both in universe and as a character in my headspace. She first was supposed to be, well, she's been more a concept in my mind that I've been trying to use in a story. Back in 2011, actually, now that I think about it, maybe it was 2012. Back in 2000, sometime
2000X.
200X, yeah. No, 20, whatever. I wanted to write this character who's supposed to be the apex of human technology. Back in college, I noticed that a lot of advances in technology were kind of sort of just people trying to replicate functions of the human body and the human mind, particularly. Computers kind of function the same way we thought brains would function, and kind of that sort of thing. So I was thinking perhaps the apex of human technology would be like to create something that functions exactly like a human would, because that would show that humans have grasped this understanding of just how humans work, because that's just something that we've been pursuing since the dawn of mankind. So I was thinking of like this character who would be this apex human uh, of human technology. This machine who behaves exactly like a human would, and so that.
I will say one thing though is
Mhm.
that there is definitely one more similarity between Don and April that I had noticed until recently. They're both insanely powerful.
Yeah.
Because Don is basically has all these weapons at her disposal, and
Mhm.
April, her kinetic power is polarity. So all she has to do is snap her fingers, and she can knock fools down with a single look.
uh,
Which I've made her. Which that's part of the reason why I can't ship Alex and April together, because their child would be the most powerful goddamn being. See,
which, yeah, that's.
which is kind of difficult to write a story for with risks of peril when you can just snap your fingers and get out of it.
Well,
I
maybe.
mean, I had to cheat with April and basically have her own brother come at her with the exact same power set.
uh, but yeah, so Dawn was supposed to be like this apex of human technology, but I had this idea, but I didn't know what to do with it per se. And at the time I thought about this story, I was like really into like Japanese tokusatsu, like sort of
Oh,
Kamen Rider, Ultraman sort of stuff. So I
mm-hmm.
was thinking of like making this story where, well, the original name for the story was like something like Techno Witch Pale Rider, something that sounded really
Oh yeah,
Japanese but
yeah.
wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and like as I said before, Don's character was inspired by this one drawing my sister did, and it was of this girl on a bike, like on a motorcycle, and I was like really into Kamen Rider, who is this Japanese superhero that rides on a motorbike, and I was thinking, hmm, I want to write one of these things, but like set but taking place in this dystopian sort of futuristic world where people are people have mod chips installed in their brains to where they're incapable of like any sort of like they're incapable of certain types of thought, and it's gotten to the point where all of humanity is being controlled by this hive mind. And so in the story, Dawn is like the most, despite being a machine, Dawn is like the most human person in this story. And I had this planned out along with like this story about how she joins up with the resistance group outside of this city and helps them out. And I also it I didn't really get past the first chapter. Is what I'm guess I is I guess what I'm trying to get at. Uh, but yeah, I didn't get past the first chapter. Still wanted to do something neat with this character, and so I kind of tossed her between like some of these other story ideas I've had. Like in one version, I had her be like, instead of a completely built from the ground up cyborg, she'd be like this attempt. Uh, she'd be like this the product of this one experiment where a scientist would resurrect a dead human being by installing robotic parts into them. And so Dawn was supposed to be like this girl who died in like this revolution against the dystopian government, resurrected through like the miracle of science. Uh, so there was that.
Uh,
But like she was just a character that I'd bounce back and forth between a bunch of story ideas. Uh, but uh, what am I trying to get at? Essentially, the fact that she was just kind of thrown into the stories she's in now, just as an afterthought, kind of allows me to write her much differently than the characters around her, because
Yeah.
she comes from a completely different time period as everyone else, so her mannerisms are always much different from everyone else.
That's I guess that's what makes her stand out to me. The fact that
Well,
she's like that.
even though she's not like the focal point of the story, she is kind of like a
Important part, especially in number 2 when she shows up. It's like, whoa.
she's kind of like a reader cipher. Like, she knows just about as much about the world as the reader does, which is kind of hard to write because in the second story, because that takes place in like it has like a first person sort of running commentary on it, which I'm not sure why I did that, but
Variety? I don't know.
maybe like with these stories, I'm kind of trying to get back into writing for one, and two, like
Oh my god. I just saw something completely unrelated, but I'll wait until you finish down. Actually, I'll just be right back in 2 seconds here. Just,
all
okay?
right. To anyone still in the chat, I'm so sorry for what am I apologizing for? You guys wanted into this. My next stream will probably be a lot more about games next time. But I don't know, I just really wanted to talk about novels and shit. So, there's that.
Okay.
Hey, you're back.
Yep.
So, yeah, the fact that Dawn just comes from a different world from everyone else allows me to do a lot more with her than with the other characters. And, and that she's essentially like how do I explain it without like her easygoing nature, I guess, makes her an easier character to write for me.
Well,
So
in my experience, yeah. You know how easy it is to write a snarky person in these books? It's just so. It's like second nature. Half the people I write are like these snarky people. Like, I mean, Lay was snarky. Libra, really snarky. Anna and Alan weren't really so snarky. But the one villain they had that later became a friend, Topaz, she was really snarky too. And well, Alex obviously has a little snark in him, and then April as well, maximum snarkage. And Terry a little bit as I'm writing him.
He's a little bit more. His personality is a little bit more restrained compared to some of your other main characters I've read. Terry's. He's a little bit more restrained than like an Alex or April.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess another reason why I like Dawn so much is because like a bit of her character comes from like my own sort of psychology, like her backstory, and I haven't actually gotten into this in the story proper, is that it's kind of like a combination of like some of the older ideas I had for her. She's supposed to be this completely built from the ground up replication of like a female human body. And so when she's first created, she spends a lot of time with her old creator, Dr. Ishinomori, and she like sees him as like a father figure, but then like this band of this this band of rebels comes in and like destroys her home and takes over like the technology in there to help them fight against this dystopian place somewhere else. And so they re-outfit her to have like these weapons on her body, and they want her. They send her back in time to kill the person who will eventually bring about like the dystopian government that they're trying to fight against.
Interesting.
Yeah, but she goes back in time and to kill this guy, but since she still has like the brain of like a human being, she thinks, well, I'm not a machine. I don't have to do this. I don't want to do this. So you know what? Instead of killing him, I think I'm gonna be friends with this dude. So so it's like her whole story is kind of like, what if, like Terminator, but the Terminator in love, something like that. Uh, but like her arc with that guy doesn't really last very long, because like even though she likes the guy, she's still like her body's a machine. So like there's that whole stigma against her, and so she comes to term. This is how she develops that stigma with people calling her like a puppet or like a weapon, because she wants to be treated like a human being, because that's what she was built for, to be like the perfect replication of a human being. But she doesn't have the body of a human being, so she gets treated differently, and that really pisses her off. And that's and like her being rejected by this guy kind of sets that in motion. So she decides to, instead of killing him or like following like the sort of crappy just like following the orders of the guys who essentially killed her family, she just goes to another dimension entirely, and that's where she meets her current love interest, who actually happens to be my other favorite character. Just going from yeah. So
yeah, I don't know too much about that.
This is because she's actually a character from like a really old. She's actually like one of the main characters from that stupid Hello Kitty Overlord story I wrote back in 2007. But oh gosh, I must be just boring the hell out of people in chat.
It's fine. I'm hanging on.
How long has this been going? Almost 3 hours of just book talk.
Yeah, well, we can wrap up. I got one more question after you're done talking about it.
Okay, so
I think we can wrap up.
I'll try to make this brief.
Okay.
This character Misawa, she's also a character that's just been bouncing around my headspace a lot, and I've been trying to. She's like this. She's the daughter of a demon overlord, and so she has these magic powers and stuff. She's essentially like a magic version of Dawn.
Right.
But I've had her. At one point, I've had her be a dark priestess at one point, and at one point, I've had her be a detective in like a supernatural detective agency in modern day. I've just been trying to fit her in like all sorts of different roles, and so just from having her in my head space for so long, that's kind of endeared me to her somewhat.
Right.
And I guess my third favorite character, this is a kind of a recent character, but Ziria from my Spectre Force novels, the disgruntled space princess who needs to get the the Spectre Force shards from the main characters, but
Oh yeah, I remember her. I really
yeah,
liked her.
I like her just because like she's supposed to be this parody of like a tokusatsu Super Sentai villain, but she really doesn't want to be a villain. She's just trying to uh, do a favor for her sisters who are actually kind of assholes. Uh, so like she's just a person in a really bad place. Uh, and so just writing her as like a sort of villain character is really interesting. But yeah, it's funny how our favorite characters all turn out to be like these sassy girl type characters.
That's great.
But
Need more of them in books.
so what was the question you wanted to ask?
Oh, the last one is just the thing I thought of because I just realized some more stuff about my writing. I mean, I know you've got like these big expansive universe stuff and whatnot. Have you ever thought of like any little quick side story sort of things? Because I know I've got a couple I can tell you about that I haven't really written. Like I started writing one, but I haven't really written the others.
Well, funny you should mention that because I well I've not only thought of side stories, I've actually written some a few side stories to a few universes, and in fact I've thought about like continuation side stories for like Willis's story and like maybe an after or like maybe making Arta's like the one who first wields the Retaliathil, maybe like expanding on her story a bit more. But yeah, uh, I know.
I can say for
Oh, go ahead.
no, well, you go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Like back when me and my other two friends were writing for the Never story, like one of those friends like actually commissioned for me to write a side story for his character being like this sort of mercenary battle mage sort of guy, and he wanted me to like write an in between chapter for their little narrative to like because in the narrative his character leaves the main party to do something, and so I had to write the story of what happens to him in that in between time. So I essentially wrote his character teleporting away to do a quote unquote interview with this shadowy third party in the story. And so it's just him beating up a bunch of chimeras really brutally. And he really loved it, apparently. So I've done that. I've been told that, like, I'm, like, good with fight scenes for some reason.
Oh, I think so too. I'm kind of trash at fight scenes. I think
I'm not.
it's basically just he shot a shot at the guy and he dodged the shot and he got hit with the thing and then he jumped out of the way of the thing.
Well, I can't really.
It's
I can't really like determine like how good you are with fight scenes because all I've really read were like your nano drafts of stuff, and like with NaNoWriMo, the main thing is just getting words to paper. So
That's true.
yeah, just writing.
Well, in the sense of these nano drafts, it's basically just he shot a shot and he hit the thing.
Yeah, what you're essentially doing is just getting your ideas to paper. It doesn't, no matter how bare bones it turns out to be. Uh, but yeah, a lot of my. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to talk about mine a little bit, if that's all right.
Well, I'm out of ideas for mine, so go ahead.
Well, I was going to say about my side story stuff. Like, I actually have written a side story thing. Cynthia's technically a side story.
Huh.
Because, well, it's happening during, like, 5th generation, but it's also, like, off on the side in its own little dimension.
Uh-huh.
And it will, like, tie into the further adventures of Alex and April. Because there is like a thing, because she was in the crossover story, right, Cynthia?
Yeah.
There is a side story idea I had. I read a little of, but I didn't finish. Where for Anna's birthday, Alex and April take her to Libra's club
Uh-huh.
and surprise him on his 50th birthday with a visit from his old friend Anna. And then it's basically just Alex and April meeting Cynthia and the new Zodiac gang, the tarot card gang, and
Uh-huh.
laughing it up and having drinks and whatnot. It's a nice little side story thing.
Huh.
That's a cute little idea I had. And what was the other one? Shit. The other one is another Cynthia side story where basically Mahiru Matsumoto
Uh-huh.
goes back to New York City to meet up with her sister who works for a rival mobster gang. But like on Christmas, there's like a little like truce period.
Uh-huh.
Sort of like that thing in World War One.
Yeah.
Sort of like that, but for mobsters. So it's the only time that the sisters can hang out together. It's just a little sweet thing that I've always meant to write for Christmas time for the past 2 years, but haven't done.
Your own little
Well,
Christmas
I
special.
wouldn't say. But wait, not past 2 years, past year because I just recently wrote it. Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. It's about to be 2 years.
Mhm.
um.
And there have been lots of side stories I could have done because the Michelin universe is kind of like the Doctor Who universe, in that anything can be a Michelin story
Yeah.
if you try hard enough. Because there's an infinite amount of dimensions, there's an infinite amount of fucking characters I can focus on.
Uh-huh.
So it's expansive like that. It's terrifying because I can never run out of stuff. So I gotta think of something new
Uh-huh.
other than people hurling psychic shit at each other.
God, though, the multiverse is just a fun thing to mess with.
It really is.
Yeah. Like, one of the visual novels I really... It's actually a visual novel that I kind of love-hate because of that happens near the end, but, which is a visual novel that one of the Sox cast guests talked about it a little bit. That one has to do with a lot with, like, branching timelines in the multiverse.
That's
And
interesting.
yeah, that actually is inspired a great deal in like the current canon I'm forming. The whole idea of like branching paths depending on what happens in history and how continuity doesn't actually happen like people tend to think it does.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's that, I guess. Um, so we've been doing this for like 3 hours. I guess we could start wrapping up. Uh,
Yeah,
I hope I haven't wasted your time too much, but I mean,
it's fine.
with NaNoWriMo over, I was just thinking maybe we could talk about like our creative processes and what brought us to this point with writing and such.
All
Uh,
right. Well, why don't you go first?
well, what was I going to say? I'm blanking out here. Um, uh, well, the next time I stream, I'll probably do something a little more visually interesting and maybe talk about the thing. Um, probably won't go into another visual novel just yet, but
Yeah.
yeah. Um, everyone in chat, if there's anyone else in chat, knows who I am and where to find me. Um, you have anything planned? I mean, other than Fresnomas?
Oh yeah, Fresmus. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Fresmus. Well, y'all probably know what Fresmus is.
So, yeah. Well, thanks for coming on my sort of
Thank
stream.
you for letting me talk about my books for so long. It's nice. I never get to do this.
Neither do I.
And you
But
said nice things about April, and that makes me feel good.
she's a nice character. I like
Yeah.
her. Uh,
I'm gonna. Before I go, I'm gonna get my picture of April that I had commissioned and link it to the chat so y'all can see it. I don't know if you've ever seen April. Have I shown you
uh,
that picture?
no, I haven't.
I probably have. Oh, you haven't? You haven't? Well, let
I
me
don't think I
dig that
have.
up.
Go ahead and
Let
send
me
it
dig.
through Skype as well, because I'm not actually on chat anymore.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
All
I
right.
gotta find it. I gotta find it on my thing in Gurrit. It's just
All right.
yeah. It's that yeah. April's really nice, and that was a big help getting that picture commissioned
Uh.
because like It's like there's nothing better than having like art of your people drawn.
I know, right? Uh,
Have you ever had that done with your book
no,
people?
my works aren't as popular, unfortunately,
I
so I
I,
haven't.
I, I wouldn't call my works as popular. Either I commissioned them or I had a friend of mine who was an artist who wanted to turn the I think it was the first Ellie book. They wanted to turn it into like a manga sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
But well, that didn't really get off the ground because like this is complicated bullshit. But
Oh.
there was like a couple of attempts at work, but she did a couple of concept sketches of like Ellie and stuff, so that really inspired.
Uh-huh.
So that was nice. It was really nice. And I will pop that on Skype first.
All right.
I think I've probably shown you this before if we were talking about April. And then I'll pop it on here.
All right.
April. That's her Mark One design. Now she wears purple, which is another Doctor Who sort of thing. Because Matt Smith ended up wearing purple around the same time. But also, as Rainiac will attest, I really
Huh.
like people wearing purple.
Yeah.
Laura has purple armor. Ellie has a purple shirt. Alex has purple robes. Capricorn is a kind of pinkish purple,
Uh-huh.
80s punk sort of aesthetic.
Yeah. Did you already mention Lord Poison as well? Because I remember
Oh,
his.
Laura Parsons is purple as hell.
Oh yeah. Especially his Alex incarnation.
The
Lord.
Alex, yeah, because I basically used the same villain twice. The Lord Poison in the Alex universe is just like a guy who really liked Lord Poison. So,
uh, yeah. But anyway, thanks for coming on stream, and thanks for helping out with my NaNoWriMo because I mean,
no
as
problem. Thank you. The same. You and Rainiac basically kept me going for this whole thing.
yeah, like just having that audience and that
Mm.
that feedback from you has really helped for just giving me the motivation to keep going, you know. But I hope to have you on like I guess a future stream if I can find something to stream.
Oh yeah. Mm.
Uh, but yeah. Uh, thanks for being on.
All right.
I
No
guess we're gonna
problem.
stop this.